Hello everyone, welcome you all. This is Pawan. So in this video, I'm going to explain about what is test case, what the test case document, and what are the best practices we need to have while preparing your test cases. Now let's start with what is test case. So in test case is a set of actions executed to verify a particular feature or functionality of your software and application. So if for example, if you have a scenario, simple scenario, let's say a login. So if you want to test this, suppose I have a username and the password. If you want to test this particular screen, we need to write a step by step. Like first, open your application, right? Enter your username, enter your password, and then click on the submit button. So these are all kind of steps. So this overall we call as a test case. Whatever steps we need to perform or whatever actions we need to execute on the application to verify certain functionality is called as a test case. So these test cases at the initial level we will write in the documents, either it can go Word document or Excel documents, and then we will upload them into your test management tools. Now let's see what the test case contains, what are the different contents we have in the test case document, and what is the purpose of it. So normally test case document contains these are the values, or these are the fields like test case ID, test case title, description of the test case, precondition, priority, requirement ID, steps or actions or expected result, actual result, and test data. So here each and every field is very important for test case, and here test case ID will be unique for every test case. And test case title, so while reading the title itself we should know what kind of functionality it is going to verify. And description and precondition, if you want to execute my test case, what are the preconditions should require. Like priority, so priority basically decide order of execution. Suppose if you have it 1 to 10 test cases, in 1 to 10 test cases, among these test cases what are the test cases I have to execute first, and what are the test cases I need to execute second and third cycles. So this will be decided based on the priority which we have given to the test case. And requirement ID, so for every test case we have to also add requirement ID, because this will be very clear like for what requirement we have created this test case. That can be easily identified by specifying this ID. And steps and actions, what are the different actions we need to perform on the application, steps we need to specify. And for each and every step action we need to also specify what is the expected result, what's the outcome we are expecting. And then once you have executed test case, we need to also capture the actual result. Fine, so that is also there, because based upon these two fields we need to decide whether our test case is passed or failed. And then test data also required. Suppose some test cases require a huge data set, so we need to also create the test data. That is also part of test case. So these are the few contents of the test case. Now we'll see how the test case document look like in Excel template. So here this is a sample template, Excel template, which contains a few test cases like here module name, requirement ID, type of test cases, priority, test case ID, scenario, precondition, test cases or steps, actual result, expected result, and then final result. So this column we need to update at the end once we have started execution, right? So this is your test case template, so which contains different columns. So once we have created all the test case here, we do multiple reviews with the team at the final level once they have uploaded everything, and then we'll upload them in your test management tool. Okay, if you want you can also directly write in test management tool itself. So this is a test case template. Now if you want to write a test cases, what are the different best practices we should have. So here I have listed out few points like best practices for writing good test case. Always we need to remember, like if you write some test case, that test case very simple to read and everybody should be able to understand. That's the main intention, right? So here I have listed out your best practices to write a good test case. So the first point, test cases need to be simple and transparent. So for example, you need to create a test cases that are as simple as possible. So they must be clear, concise, as the author of the test case may not execute them sometimes, right? Suppose you created your test case, tomorrow somebody else will execute it. So everybody should be able to understand. That's the main intention of this. So test cases need to be simple and transparent. The next one is create test case with end user in mind. So we need to always think about end user. Think like end user or a customer. Okay. And here the ultimate goal of any software project is to create test cases that meets the customer requirement and is easy to use and operate, right? So a tester must create test cases keeping in mind the end user perspective. That's the second point, create test case with end user in mind. Now the third point is avoid test case repetition. So don't repeat the test cases. If a test case is needed for executing some other test case, call the test case by its test case ID in the precondition column. Okay, for example, I have it one scenario. I need to first need to do login process first. This is one test case. And I have once I have login, I need to add a new customer, for example. This is my test case. This is another test case. So this test case 1, this is the test case 2. So this test case is depending on the previous test case. So when you're writing your test cases, again when you're writing your new customer test case, again we no need to repeat the steps for the login. So in the precondition, just write TC1. So once you have executed this, then you can execute this. That will avoid the duplication. So avoid the test case repetition. And the next point is don't assume. So do not assume functionality on features of software application while preparing your test case. Stick to the specification document. Then ensure 100% coverage. So you make sure you write to test cases to check all the software requirements mentioned in the specification document. And that's the reason here the traceability matrix will come into the picture to ensure no functions or conditions is left untested. Okay, we'll discuss this in next video. Traceability matrix. And then test cases must be identifiable. What is this one means? Name of the test case ID such that they are identified easily while tracking defects or identifying the software requirement at later stage. So we need to name the test case. We need to give proper test case ID that should be unique. And then implement testing techniques. So whenever we are writing your test cases, some test cases will use certain techniques are required, like boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, state transitioning, error guessing. So these are the techniques we have to make use while creating your test cases. Then self-cleaning means the test case you create must return the test environment to the pre-test state and should not render the test environment unusable. This is especially true for configuration testing. And then repeatable and self-standing. So the test case should generate the same results every time, no matter who test it. So that's the make sure. Okay, it's repeatable and self-standing. And then last one is a peer review. So after creating your test cases, get them reviewed by your colleagues. Your peers can uncover defects in your test case design when you may easily miss, right? So that's peer review. Peer review is mandatorily required once you have done your test cases. They can give some comments, they can re-include those comments in your test case, again go for review, or multiple reviews will happen in your test case document. Same thing will happen for other documents also. Okay, and that's all for this video. Thanks for watching this. Please subscribe my channel to get more updates on this. Thank you all.